Welcome everybody, it's your boy Holy Joe Rock and Roll. I'm coming at you live and unscripted. I just watched the 5th GOP debate, and as usual, I like to go through and discuss with you what I believe transpired and give you some commentary and some color. Maybe you did not have 2.5 hours to devote to this debate, but hopefully I can do this video in 20 minutes or less. So as usual, I've got a picture up here of the 9 presidential candidates that are on the stage. First, I want to say, look, they made it so that if you had 3.5 to 4% in either a state poll or a national poll, you were on the stage. This is ridiculous. You know, they would only let an independent in debates if they had 5% or more, and that really should be the minimal requirement, is that you have 5% to get on, you know, the main debate stage, really. Half these candidates and the undercard, those guys really should be off the air. Although I have to say, the undercard debate, I watched a few minutes of it, and it was actually pretty good for the most part. You know, the Republican field, by and large, is very strong. These are, by and large, principled conservatives, and they'd make a hell of a lot better president than the one that we currently have, and certainly better than Hillary Clinton on a lot of issues. But let's start. Let's start with John Kasich on the left here. Kasich, I can't really say he put in a strong performance. It was okay. He really needs to drop out. Kasich, yeah, you might want to say that no Republican has won the presidency without winning Ohio, but you, sir, are not winning Ohio, so you might as well just drop out. I don't really have anything negative off the top of my head. This is unscripted, but he really needs to go. He really needs to go. Now, on the other side, we've got Ron Paul. Now, again, as in the last debate, he came across a lot more measured, a lot more, let's say, I won't say sophisticated, but he came across as a lot more thoughtful, let's say, on some of these issues, which I thought was really interesting. I thought that was really interesting. He, with more poise, and he got into a little bit with Governor Christy about whether we should be collecting this metadata. And look, it's really a moot point. We're gonna, in order to connect the dots, you got to collect all of the metadata, and it's just a moot point. Nobody's eavesdropping on you. The one thing, going back to Kasich real quick, was about talking about encryption and how we have to. It's a big problem. You know, yeah, it is a problem when terrorists are using encryption and we're not able to hear what they're saying. Well, whatever. It's not that big of a deal when you stop letting in groups of people who are known to be, let's say, terroristic or terroristic leaning. Whatever. Let's go to Carly Fiorina. She was, let's say, not as happy, smiling, as she was in one of the previous debates, where she came across, likable. In this debate, she came across a little bit less likable, but not the B word. Okay. Honestly, Carly, you had a little bit of a jump up in the polls, but no one's responding to you. You're not really being taken that seriously. And, I think you need to drop, really. Let's go to Christy. Christy, he held his ground. He did pretty good. If Trump was not in the race, Christy probably would be a lot higher in the polls as someone who is known for his straight talk and bombasticness. But he's not resonating with the people, really. And he likes to tout his 7 years of experience as a federal prosecutor, and that's all good. But again, you're not really resonating. So those 4 people really on the main stage probably should drop out. Look, if you don't like Trump, and those candidates have to drop out, that frees up maybe 12 points, which potentially could go to somebody else if you don't like Trump. Okay, so that's for all those people who want to beat Trump, people have to drop out. Okay. And they're not dropping out because everybody thinks that Trump is going to implode and they're going to somehow magically rise to the top. It's just not happening, folks. Trump remains in the lead with a commanding lead. and Cruz is right neck and neck in some polls, but Trump still is ahead, generally. Now let's go to Senator Rubio. Rubio, again, comes across polished. He's a good debater, but he got into a little feud with Cruz about, Cruz fighting Rubio about his immigration stand. Remember, Rubio was on the Gang of Eight, which was was in favor of amnesty for these illegal aliens, illegal immigrants. Cruz supposedly maybe sided with Paul about reducing some of the surveillance stuff, but Rubio, and a lot of these pundits after the debate, the CNN guys or the people that are on CNN, trying to say that they believe that this race would be between Cruz and Rubio, will be between Cruz and Rubio. Look, Rubio is nowhere near winning any of the first three primaries, so it's just fantasy, just wishful thinking. And I don't know, these talking heads, they just continue to talk about Rubio and Cruz, but Rubio has no chance. I'm just sorry, he just doesn't have any chance. Let's move on. Jeb Bush. Jeb, maybe if this is radio, even if it was just radio, when you hear Jeb Bush talk, he has a little bit of a stuttering problem. Not really stuttering, but like a sort of bit of a speech impediment or whatever. He's not polished. Now, you can say that Rubio is very polished. He is. Cruz also very polished in a, people who debate all the time. And that's one thing that was brought up, was that these two guys were debating over policy rather than getting down to brass tacks, where Christy really nailed them on that. I think it was Christy. Or maybe it was Carly Fiorina, whatever. Anyhow, they were like schoolboys in the debate club when they're fighting each other. But Jeb Bush, somebody right after on the CNN stage, whatever, said that they thought Jeb Bush put in a great performance. No, he didn't. Oh, it was Ed Rawlings. No, he didn't. He did not. And they gave him leading questions. Donald Trump said XYZ. How do you react? Or you said XY. You said ABC. What did you mean by that? And it was something that Trump picked up on, was that they were giving him leading questions, and also in the undercard debate, he says that they were doing the same thing there. Everything was about Trump, trying to get them to fight Trump. And it is true. You saw that in this debate where Bush was trying to fight Trump. And honestly, it didn't come across well. Jeb Bush did not come across as strong. He came across as a pussy, as just like, I don't know, some kind of a dick. It didn't come across, man. And, Jeb Bush has certain mannerisms which just it just makes you look weak. All right, let's get off of Jeb Bush. Let's go to Dr. Ben Carson. I thought he put in a good performance. The good thing about Carson is he went to these Syrian refugee camps in Jordan, and he talked to these people, and he had really good stuff to say, and it made him sound really intelligent, because he's been there talking to the people, and it showed. He showed a little bit better, a little bit more polished, a little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more knowledgeable, a little bit more smooth. He didn't seem to get a lot of questions, and, the people didn't really field him a lot of questions. But, obviously, Carson is dropping in the polls. Most of his support seems to be going to Cruz. Ben Carson at this point really doesn't have much of a chance, but he's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. He's got a good heart, and I think he could do the job pretty well. It's just, that's one of the things he made a comment of, that look, just because he's soft-spoken doesn't mean he's not tough, and it's not about being vicious. They asked him some really stupid question. Are you in favor of bombing ISIS and killing thousands of children and innocent civilians in the city of Raqqa? He didn't say that. He would target, he would go after the terrorist, and it wasn't being ruthless, it's being, what do you say? He used other terms, not ruthless. It was really bogus, the way these commentators try to stuff him with sort of in a bad light or whatever. Now let's go to Donald Trump. Donald Trump put in a really good performance, as usual. He didn't F up, so that's the most important thing. He maintains his lead. Now, as you know, I am leaning towards Donald Trump, but I have to point out the one thing that either he didn't understand the question or he didn't. Let's just leave it at that. Probably he didn't understand the question. Hugh Hughes, whatever his name is, trying to ask a stupid question about which part of the nuclear triad would you want to improve first, or where would you? And Trump just really went into a kind of a not rambling, but he went into more of one of his canned speeches about how dangerous nuclear weapons are and how we need to focus on preventing the proliferation of nuclear weapons. But of course, they gave the same question to Rubio, who, like a good debater, was like, well, let's talk about the triad. What is it really? It's the nuclear triad is made up of three components. You have air-based nuclear deterrent. You have land-based missiles, which are launched from land silos. And you have nuclear submarines, which make up the third leg of the nuclear triad. So that was a question that Trump did not answer directly. And it may be that he not familiar with the term nuclear triad, or maybe he misunderstood, triad or threat. I don't know. It's hard to say, but we have to say, before being honest here, straight up 100%, that Donald Trump did not answer that question, let's say, correctly, or I don't know. I don't know what to say. He didn't answer the question. That's what we can say. So, 12 minutes into this, so I'll try. Maybe we can cut it early. Really a strong debate. CNN, the moderators were a little bit less dickish than they were on that first CNN debate. They were really dicks, and this one they were a lot better. This was, like 2.5 hours almost, and it was really good that they were able to drill down deeper into a lot of these foreign policy issues. So Trump maintains his lead. I believe that we're 6 weeks away from Iowa. And you hear the pundits talking about, if Chris Christie could win in New Hampshire, then he knocks out XYZ. And it's like, Chris Christie is not strong in New Hampshire. Yeah, he's stronger than he was maybe a month ago because he's spent 30 days there or something like that talking to people. I'm not opposed to Chris Christie, but it's just all of these pundits are so intent on Trump not winning that they're blind to the fact that Trump is winning. And that's really the craziness of this election cycle, and also part of the excitement of it is that you got a guy like Donald Trump who, look, just to summarize it, you have to admit that he's been a successful business person in many different businesses, okay? Not just building, but when you talk about building a house or building a building, apartment buildings, there's a lot of stuff to deal with. Hotels, resorts, also fashion, selling clothing. What else? So real estate, fashion, of course, the Celebrity Apprentice, the media stuff, and the Trump University or the whatever the university that he put together. All of these different ventures, gambling, casinos of the past, hotels, these are all dealing with politics, dealing with everything you could think about, in different ways. So he's got a lot of experience, a lot of like brass tacks experience, and people just some people are refusing to acknowledge that, and it's probably going to be to their detriment. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm under 15 minutes. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. If you want more of this stuff, please just go ahead and subscribe. Thumb it up. Give me your comments. If you watch the whole debate and you have comments or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. I'm sure that I'm missing some things that I'd like to mention. I might put that down in the comments. But I'd love to hear from you, your feedback. What did you think? Who did you think had a strong showing? And whether or not you think that's going to actually change the results. Trump. Oh, one last thing, final thing. It looks like I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. A Trump Cruz ticket is looking more and more logical and practical. Oh, Trump had a chance to really slam Cruz. He did not. He was very gracious. He did not. And Cruz had a chance to smash Donald Trump, and he did not. So, these are looks like the front runners. It's not Rubio and Cruz. It's Donald Trump and Cruz. And as I said in a previous video, a Trump-Cruz ticket would be a knockout blow to Hillary Clinton for sure. You've got a New Yorker, so you've got a Northeastern person, or Mid-Atlantic, Northeastern, whatever you want to call it, and you have a Texan, a senator, a businessman. That combination really, I think, would grab most of the conservatives. So you'd have the Republican, the Republican other track, and you've got the conservative Tea Party, somewhat evangelical middle track, and whatever. I'm sure the evangelicals will go to Cruz if he's on the ticket. So that's my analysis of this 5th GOP debate held in Las Vegas, sponsored by CNN and Facebook. And it was probably one of the better ones. The Fox Business one was also very good, but this one was a lot more enlightening in terms of getting deep into some of these foreign policy questions. And hopefully you can see the debate yourself. It probably will be posted online on YouTube somewhere. Really, if you want to vet these candidates and hear what they're saying, it's worth spending a couple hours to help you become an informed voter. All right, I'm Holy Joe Rock and Roll. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Till next time, peace out.